All right, so we're going to take a look at my artifact deck. As you can see, this is going to be our commander Traxos. We started this deck. I say we, me and a group of my friends. We picked up the precons from 2018, and it started out as the Sahili deck, the red and blue one, and eventually I just decided to go full artifact. So this is just nothing but artifacts. There are, I believe, 3 creatures that aren't artifacts, but there's a reason for that. But we'll get to those after we look at the creatures. So again, Traxos is our commander, pretty simple. He only costs 4, 7/7, but he comes in tapped and doesn't normally untap. He only untaps when we cast a historic spell, which in our case, of course, will be the artifacts. We do have a few other legendaries, but mostly we're using it for the artifacts. And then, of course, the trample is amazing. We definitely want that in here. We've got ways to beef him up so we can get that commander damage through. So let's look at our other creatures. So starting off with our other creatures, we have good old Ornithopter, cast for 0. So we can literally just flop this down. It's a good chump blocker, 0/2, we can't really attack. I mean, we can attack with it. It won't do any good unless we have it buffed, which, again, we do have ways to do that. So also the fact that it has flying is what really helps us out. Then we also have another 0 cast, Memnite. Again, just a good turn 1 play, or getting out, or not getting out, but untapping our Traxos. So we can just throw these down for free and get our Traxos untapped. Now, this is one of our heavy hitters. We haven't gone through it yet, but we're going to look at some of our mana in here. We do technically have an infinite combo in here for mana, but I believe it requires 3 or 4 cards to get it just right. But we have ways of generating copious amounts of mana, if not the infinite. So the fact that this has trample, and then it comes in with the X +1/+1 counters on it. Also, the fact that it has reach, this can block some pesky flyers as well. Then we have Mirror, or Myrrh Retriever. I'm not sure how everybody wants to pronounce that, but whenever it dies, we can get an artifact from our graveyard to our hand. We have our Voltaic Servant, which helps untap things at the end step. So we could use this on our Traxos or any other of our artifacts. Then we have one of our buffers, a Chief of the Foundry. Other artifact creatures get +1/+1. Then we have the Foundry Inspector. This helps reduce the cost of our artifacts. Then we have Palladium Myrrh, which is one of our mana dorks. Adds 2 colorless. Shimmer Myrrh, Mirror, again, whatever. It has flash itself, and then it gives all of our other artifacts flash as well. Then we have the Golden Guardian. The main reason we have this in here, well, other than the fact that it's an artifact creature, it itself can't really do anything, but when we transform it, let's get it out of here and look at the other side. We have the Gold Forge Garrison. It adds 2 mana of any one color, so we're not really worried about that too much, but it's a good mana sink. So if we do have a lot of mana, we can use it to make 4/4 colorless golem tokens. So let's pop that back in the sleeve real quick. Also, we have these lovely silver, kind of on-theme-ish dragon shields. These are beautiful. I love dragon shield sleeves. Then we have Voltaic Construct. We pay 2 to untap target artifact creature. This is part of our infinite mana combo. Then we have the Peace Strider. When it enters the battlefield, we gain 3. Then we have Pierce Strider. When it enters the battlefield, opponent loses 3. Jorah's Familiar. It gives our artifacts, our historics, but again, we're only worried about the artifacts, 1 less. It's also a good flyer for blocking. Solemn Simulacrum, just a classic artifact creature that really fits into any deck. I do like this alternate art, though. The other one's not bad by any means, but I just prefer this one. Then we have Geo Golem. It's got trample, so that's always nice. And it also lets us cast our commander from the command zone without paying for it. So if we swing this in and get some damage, we can cast Traxos for free. Of course, if we've cast him already, we'll have to pay the mana, or the extra mana for commander tax. Then we have Duplicant. Really, to me, Duplicant's just good for the removal itself. You can, of course, get the power from the other creature, power, toughness, and its creature type. but to me, it's just great for the removal. Then we have Steel Hellkite, just a good flyer. Scuttling Doom Engine. It can't be blocked with power 2 or less, so it, not necessarily chump blockers. Those won't really be a problem. But the real cool thing is when it does die, it deals 6 damage to any opponent or planeswalker. Then we have the Soul of New Phyrexia. Again, you can see most of these cards are coming from that Commander 18 set. So we basically can give permanents indestructible, and then we can do it again when it's in the graveyard. Then we have Thopter Assembly, which will give us our wonderful Thopter tokens. It's also a 5/5 flyer, so that's helpful. Myr Battlesphere, again, giving us some Myr tokens. We do have other Myr in the deck, so we can tap those as well to give this one a buff. Then we have Maelstrom Colossus. The Cascade in here is just wonderful. With it being an 8 CMC, chances are anything we flip over, we're going to get to cast. There are maybe 3. Let's see. Anything behind this, we've got 1, 2, 3 behind this that we wouldn't be able to cast. So yeah, pretty awesome. Then we have the Colossus of Akros. It comes in with Defender and Indestructible. So Indestructible itself is pretty awesome, but the Defender's not all that great, especially since it's a 10/10. But if we can get another 10 into it, say on the next turn, we buff it by 10, and then it can attack. So a 20/20 for 18. Pretty awesome, especially if we can give it trample, which we can. Then we have the Ancient Stone Idol, it having flash and cost 1 less for each attacking creature. That's going to be easy. We can probably cast this for free depending on where we're at. There's so many tokens possible in this deck that it's not that big of a deal. And then, of course, when it dies, you get the 6/12 colorless construct token. And then last creature, we have Metalwork Colossus. A lot of Colossi here towards the end. Cost 11 for a 10/10, but it costs X less, where X is the total converted mana cost of non-creature artifacts. We have loads of those. So also when it's dead, or excuse me, well, yeah, when it's in the graveyard, so it's dead, you sacrifice 2 artifacts and you can put it back in your hand. So that's all of our creatures. Here are non-artifact creatures. We have the Desolation Twin. This came from the C19. I believe, I don't remember who the commander was, but it's the Naya colors. It's basically a proliferate, which we don't really have that in here per se. But when you cast this, you get a 10/10 for 10, which, that's awesome. But you also get another 10/10. So you get 2 10/10s for 10. It's pretty awesome. Then we have another X spell. This is Ugin's Conjurant. It comes in with X +1/+1 counters on it, and whenever it takes damage, you just remove that number of counters. And then last, we have the Endless one. This just, again, comes in with X +1/+1 counters on it. So again, the reason that these are in here, we do have the ability to generate infinite mana. However, it's pretty rare that we can get that done. I actually haven't gotten it out in the times that I have played this deck. But other than that, we can, on the regular, we can generate lots and lots of mana. So that's why these 3 X spells were in here. The Ugin's Conjurant, this one, and then the Stone Coil Serpent. So that's all of our creatures. Let's move on to our regular artifacts. So here are our regular artifacts. This has got our just normal artifacts and then also our mana rocks all kind of bundled together. So let's start looking at them. First, we have the Fountain of Renewal. Just quick, easy one. And at the beginning of our upkeep, we get a life. And if we're just that desperate, we can use it to draw a card. Then we have Gonti's Aetherheart, or Aetherheart, however you want to say it. Whenever we cast it, or another, oh no, excuse me, we don't even have to cast it, just when it enters the battlefield. So that counts for our tokens as well. You get 2 energy counters. You pay 8 energy counters and exile this, we get an extra turn. Then we have Sculpting Steel. Basically, we can just have it enter as any copy. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's already on the battlefield. Then we have the Planar Bridge. The main reason I wanted to put this in here was the fact that we can generate so much mana, and with all the untap shenanigans, to put it nicely, we can activate it either multiple times on our turn, or at the very least, on every player's turn. Then we have Retrofitter Foundry, again, using it to make tokens and then transforming those tokens. We can untap it ourselves by paying 3, or we can use the other untapped stuff that we have. For example, Staff of Domination. This itself, well, this untaps target creature, but that's okay. We can just untap multiple things. We can draw cards, tap creatures, untap creatures, gain life, and then untap the staff itself. Then we have Mimic Vat. This is in here. Originally, I was going to take this out, but there is a mana rock that we're going to make plenty of copies of, and we'll set that aside. In fact, I'm going to leave this right over here, and we'll get to that momentarily. Then we have Mirrorworks. We can have basically any artifact that we play, as long as it comes onto the battlefield under our control, pay 2 and make a copy of it. Then we have the Manifold Key, which is used again for untapping things, but it's also got this nice little target creature can't be blocked. So if we can beef up Traxos, we'll use this on it. Boom, swing in for a quick, easy kill with commander damage. Then the Mystic Forge, you can look at the top card anytime. You can cast it as long as it's an artifact or a colorless non-land. So in this deck, as long as it's not a land, you can cast it, because that's all that's in here. Then we have Prototype Portal. Again, just basically making copies. This will be used for also the Mana Rock. In fact, I think I misspoke. Let's see. Let's look at Mimic Vat real quick. Let's see. Whenever non-token. Yeah. So I totally had that wrong. This is for our non-token creatures. Yeah, that was my mistake. This is the one we want to use for our Mana Rock. And we'll get to that in just a minute. Normally, that particular Mana Rock would be more than worthless in the Commander format because you can only have one of it. Then we have Unwinding Clock. This is very, very important in this deck. It untaps all of our artifacts during every player's untap step. So, again, that's almost all of our cards, other than, of course, our lands. Then we have the Horizon Stone. This is very important addition to this deck after Commander Legends came out. This allows us to keep all of that mana. All of our mana is already colorless anyway, for the most part. We have a few things that generate color, like the golden, I forgot what it's called already, but it makes the golem tokens. This basically lets us keep our mana throughout the turns. Then we have Blink Moth Urn. Again, gives everybody colorless mana for each artifact. So, in Commander, obviously people are going to have artifacts. It's in every deck. So, it will help our opponents sometimes, but the advantage that it gives us over the advantage it gives them far outweighs it. And then one of our heavy hitters, the Darksteel Forge, gives all of our artifacts indestructible. So, an absolute necessity to make this deck almost unbeatable. Then we have the Lithoform Engine, another one that I felt was very, very necessary in powering this deck up a lot. You can copy an activated or triggered ability, you can copy an instant or sorcery, and then you can copy a permanent spell. So I can literally make copies of any permanent on my side of the field. Of course, as long as it's not legendary, because then legend rule comes in. Then we have the Forsaken Monument, two awesome artifacts from Zendikar Rising. So this gives our creatures +2/+2 whenever we tap a permanent for mana, for colorless mana. We add an additional colorless mana. So this applies to not only our lands, but our mana rocks and our creatures, our mana dorks, if you will. And then whenever we cast a colorless spell, you gain 2 life. So yeah, everything when we cast it gives us life. Now for our mana rocks. Yes, here they are towards the end. First and foremost, the classic Soul Ring. Tap 2, taps 4/2 colorless, only cost 1. Got the awesome promo version from, it was from Channel Fireball. I forget the name of it. Command Fest? No, maybe. I don't remember. But yes, I absolutely love this artwork. I also like that it is by the artist of the original Soul Ring as well. So yes, very, very awesome card. I love this artwork for Soul Ring. Then we have Thran Dynamo, one of the cards we can use in our infinite combo. Costs 4 and produces 3. We'll set it aside. Overflowing Chalice, just a really awesome spell. Cast it for 0, but you pay 2 for multi-kicker, and every time it's kicked, you put a charge counter on it, and when we tap it, you add colorless for each charge counter. So we could make this as just amazing as we wanted to. You know, if you just need a quick source of mana, you just put 2, 4, 6 into it. But other than that, you can just make it absolutely outrageous. Pristine Talisman taps for our colorless and gives us a life every time we do that. The Worn Power Stone. This is the one I was referring to with our prototype portal. This taps for colorless for each artifact you control named Power Stone Shard. Well, that's kind of useless in Commander. A 1 mana for 3? No. So what we do is when we play Prototype Portal with this in our hand, we exile this, and then each turn, or every time we can untap Prototype Portal, we pay 3 and make another Power Stone Shard, and then each one is going to produce more and more mana. We've got 1 copy there, and it just produces 1. We have 2 copies, each copy produces 2. So yes, very, very awesome. Sorry for the cut, guys. Had something come up that had to get attended to. So I believe we left off, we were discussing our Power Stone Shard with our prototype portal. Basically, again, making copies of Power Stone Shard every time we can. And each time we make one, not only is the new copy able to produce more mana, but each other copy as well can produce more and more mana. Again, one of our cool combos in here that I just absolutely love. So let's get back to our mana rocks. We have the Unstable Obelisk. It just taps for 1, but we also have the ability to destroy any target permanent if we pay 7 into it. Then we have the Dreamstone Hedron. Taps for 3. We can pay 3 and sack it to draw 3 cards if we need to. And then we get into the good ones. We have Mana Vault, one of the better ones, of course. The only thing is it doesn't untap during your untap step. You have to pay 4 to do that. And if it's tapped at the draw step, you lose 1, or you take 1 damage, lose 1 life. So the 1 damage in Commander is not that big a deal, but with all of our other untap methods, we've got the Unwinding Clock, we have the Manifold Key, we have multiple things that will untap this for us, so we don't have to worry about it. And this is our heavy hitter section, if you will. So there's Mana Vault, and then we have Mana Crypt to go with it. I was very fortunate to finally get this card. I wish I could have pulled it. Both Mana Crypt and Mana Vault. I was able to purchase both of them. Mana Vault, I about had a fit when I saw that it was getting reprinted in Ultimate Masters with this artwork. I believe it was released online somewhere. I forget. I want to say it was MTGO. I could be very wrong, but it was released online with this special artwork only. And then when Ultimate Masters was announced, they were like, hey, we're redoing Mana Vault with this new artwork, the current card frame and everything. I had the sleeves for this deck. It was the Mana Vault sleeves, but also we have, let's not mess up the camera there. We have the Mana Vault deck box as well, but you can see it's got a lot of scuffs on it. So I'm probably going to end up switching this out for something else as well, but I just hadn't done that yet. Mana Crypt, on the other hand, this one, I used just a lot of store credit. I had not sent in a lot of cards for a long time to Card Kingdom, which is where I usually get my singles. I had saved up about 120, it was about $110 worth of store credit, and I was just like, you know what, let's just bite the bullet. Let's just go ahead and get that Mana Crypt. The biggest problem, of course, with Mana Crypt is the 3 damage, and there's no way to avoid that. It's just luck. Absolute luck. So you can get a pretty explosive first hand if you get these 2 and Soul Ring in your first hand. And then, of course, the other one, this is big, not as much of a controversy anymore, but now, yeah, there's that one. The only foil in the deck, too. This Jeweled Lotus, of course, we all know what this does. It's caused a big uproar when it was announced, and to my knowledge, some people are still freaking out over it, but it's calmed way down. I don't think people are realizing they're realizing it's not as broken as it was originally thought to be. So, of course, it costs 0, and you tap it and sack it to add 3 of any one color, but you can only use it to cast your commander. So, of course, the color thing's not that big a deal at all, or I say big a deal. It's not a big deal at all in this deck because it's colorless. But 3 free mana doesn't cost us anything, and our commander already only costs 4. So, you get this in your first hand, and, you know, assuming you kept a land in your hand, you'd be kind of stupid not to. You got your commander, turn 1, done. It doesn't really do you a whole lot of good because most likely you won't have anything else to play to untap it unless you have one of our 0 drops, you know, the Memnite or the Ornithopter. So could be potentially hazardous. Also, what really sticks out to me on this card, what I really like, is the flavor text. It says, "I've seen my share of baubles, Minister. Whatever ostentatious bit of glitter you have, there won't be..." Oh, excuse me. Ooh, y'all, I can't read this evening. Let me try that again. "I've seen my share of baubles, Minister. Whatever ostentatious bit of glitter you have, there won't convince me to..." Oh, my. So, yeah, or if you want to go for the... the classic, oh, I've already forgot his name. I hate it when I do that. George Takei, there we go, the original Mr. Sulu. Oh my. Anyway, so yeah, story behind this one. Did not pull this out of a pack either. My 3 big heavy mana rocks, I actually purchased / traded for them. Jeweled Lotus, I had gone to the closest LGS to me. It's about an hour away. And went on pre-release weekend for Commander Legends, bought a box, pulled a foil mana drain, which I really wanted to keep. I wanted to keep it so bad. But my mission was to get the Lotus. So I didn't pull a Lotus. But like I said, I had that full mana drain, and the shop did store credit and trade in. So I traded the mana drain for, let's see, there's a few other things. There's mana drain and I think a couple of the battle bond lands that come in this set. I traded them in for this foil Jeweled Lotus, so I was very happy with that. So again, that's the last of our mana rocks. Next we have equipment, which go ahead and do all this at one time. We have the Colossus Hammer. It only costs 1, so it's an easy artifact to get on the battlefield to untap Traxos. The equipped creature gets +1, I missed the 0, +10, and loses flying. So not too worried about the flying thing, but it costs 8 to equip, so it's a little expensive there. Then we have Swiftfoot Boots, just a classic, gets hexproof and haste. Then we have the Haunted Cloak from Commander Legends. Equipped creature has vigilance, trample, and haste. So this would be really good to put on Traxos as well, because it won't cause him to tap when he attacks. Plus, it only costs 1 to equip and 3 to get out, so not overly expensive. And then the last bit, we have our 2 Planeswalkers, both from War of the Spark. We've got Ugin, the Ineffable. Ugin is in here for the cost reduction. I don't even worry too much about his +1 ability. I mean, it's helpful, but it's not crazy. And then the Destroy Target permanent that's 1 or more colors, that could be very helpful as well. So honestly, the only reason I would even use his abilities, I would up him so I could use the last one. But again, the main reason is the colorless spell reduction. And then Karn, he's in here because he is part of our infinite combo, which we're going to go over in just a minute. Let me set him over here to the side as well. Last thing, we have our lands. And of course, with this being colorless, you know, most of our lands are waste, but we of course want to go with our Urzas. We have Urza's Tower, Urza's Power Plant, and Urza's Mine. I had I believe it was 9th edition versions in here, but I like the colorless mana symbol, and the other ones had just, you know, the 1, or, you know, in this case the 2, and the 3. So I'll just switch those out for the Double Masters versions. We have Darksteel Citadel, which has Indestructible, and it counts as one of our artifacts. Then we have Buried Ruin, We can return an artifact from the graveyard to our hand. We have Majoring Network, which sort of kind of a mana sink, I guess. You can add pay 1 and put a Majoring Network, or excuse me, a storage counter on Majoring Network, and then we remove those counters to add colorless. Karn's Bastion, this is just in here for the proliferate. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but put it in here anyway. Inventor's Fair, this has been very, very powerful in this deck. Gives us life if we have enough artifacts, and then we can search our deck for any artifact, only if we have 3 or more, but, you know, chances are we will. Temple of the False God, you know, obviously, got to have that in there. Tomb of the Spirit Dragon, massive, massive life gain. 1 life for each colorless creature you control. And then we have our waste. Had to go for the full arts. I kind of prefer this art over that art, but I decided to keep it even. So we have the same amount of each full art. So there is our mana base, our lands. Now we are going to take a look at that infinite combo that I've mentioned. So let's do that. All right, so here's our infinite combo. We only need 3 pieces for it, and that's it. We can switch out any of these. The Thran Dynamo is just the one that I picked because it works a little bit better, or it's not that it works better, it has a less likely chance of being destroyed and ruining our combo. But basically, we can use any mana rock that has that produces 3 mana or more. So basically what you do is you +1 Karn, and target non-creature artifact becomes an artifact creature with power and toughness equal to its CMC. So this one would be 4. And, of course, we could use Mana Vault. We could use this. We could use the Hedron Network. Or not Network, excuse me. Archive. That one actually would be better because its CMC is 6. So that one would probably be the better bet. And I can't remember names. There we go. The Dreamstone Hedron. So that would actually be a 6/6 creature and would be less likely to die because of removal, unless, you know, remove target or destroy target creature. Anyway, what you do is basically you animate the creature with Karn. So we're done with Karn. And then you tap the creature, again, whichever one it is. Let me get that out of the way. You tap whichever one it is, produces 3 mana. You use 2 of it, and then untap it. And then you just keep doing that over and over and over and over again. And you essentially have unlimited colorless mana. And we can use that colorless mana, as I've mentioned already. We can use that to cast any of our X spells. We can play out Endless One, comes in with X +1/+1 counters. We could do Ugin's Conjurant. Again, +1/+1 for each mana put into it. And then the bomb, maybe not necessarily the bomb, but the best one would be our Stone Coil Serpent. Because A, it has reach and trample, already awesome. Protection from multicolored. Chances are, well, it's not protection from colors, because that would probably be a little busted. Chances are you're going to be playing a multicolored deck, and there will be multicolored cards in that deck. And then, of course, it comes in with the X +1/+1 counters. So, again, I do hope you guys enjoyed. This is my artifact-only build, again, with Traxos as our commander. With all the different things we have in here, we can easily win by swinging in with commander damage with Traxos. You know, if you get him out turn 1 and you're able to untap him, then you're swinging in with commander damage almost immediately. So, again, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned. I will be trying to do some more Magic deck techs in the near future. Just as a little bit of well, not a spoiler, but a hint at the future, I have a mono green elf deck, and I also have a black green elf deck, both of which are already very powerful. The black green one, not so much. I kind of threw it together after opening my first box of Commander Legends. Some really cool elf stuff in there. So I just kind of threw it together. My mono green one is pretty powerful. So what I'm doing, though, I'm waiting for Kaldheim to drop, because if you have not seen the spoilers for that, there is some pretty awesome stuff in that set. I'm hoping to do at least 1 box opening for you guys. I haven't got to do any openings for YouTube yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that. Kaldheim looks amazing. So I'm waiting for that to get some elf stuff from there. The elf commander deck itself, I'm just going to flat out buy it. It's a black-green elf deck, just like the one I already built. So I'm hoping to grab that. That way I can beef up the black-green one, and then I'll just get some singles. Hopefully I'll pull the good singles from the box itself, and then I can beef up the green elf deck, and then bring those two deck techs to you guys. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one.